People have been watching TV for the better part of a century now, and that amounts to a lot of programming over the years. However, television shows tend to follow set formats, and that's often not even a bad thing, as viewers can sit back and enjoy mindlessly watching something entertaining without being too distracted by anything unexpected. However, when a series strays from the norm, the viewers tend to take notice, and when this happens, there's nothing to do except be distracted. I mean, just imagine sitting back to watch your favourite animated series only to discover one of the main characters is suddenly being voiced by a different actor. It makes it hard to pay attention to anything else that's going on. Character voices are one thing, but the following issues continue to pop up every once in a while on a series that has typically stuck around for a long period of time. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 things television fans found too distracting. Number 10. Blatant product placement. Whether anyone likes it or not, television shows exist largely due to the support they receive from advertisers. Apart from regular old commercials, there's the advertising that goes on in any given scene without anyone ever really knowing about it. That shirt the main character is wearing, the coffee table they're all sitting around, or even the car they're driving were all selected solely to sell viewers products, and most of the time they go by unnoticed. And that's all well and good, but every so often a series will opt to be less than subtle about their product placements and throw them straight in a viewer's face. A lot of shows do this from time to time, but one of the worst perpetrators in recent history was Fox's crime series Bones. Every once in a while, the two main characters would just hop into their brand new Toyota and blatantly discuss all of the car's amazing features. It was weird and out of place in the show's narrative, and it was incredibly distracting. It's even worse when it happens on The Walking Dead though, and yet again, it's about car advertisements. So you know what this show is. This is about a world gone to hell, and yet these Hyundai cars are conveniently pristine and the only vehicles that seem to have survived. I don't think so, and it completely breaks all realism the show might have. Number 9. Needless celebrity cameos. Since the dawn of television, shows have welcomed the occasional celebrity guest, and these appearances are often fun and entertaining, but as you might have guessed, it's not always the case. I mean, when Billy Crystal and Robbie Williams popped in for coffee on Friends, it was a welcome escape, but most walk-ons aren't like that. Typically, a celebrity will appear on a series and it will completely upend the ongoing story for the sole purpose of having someone go on there who can say, look at me, give me more ratings. Like I said, celebrity cameos are great when they're done well, but when they are rammed down the viewers' throats for absolutely no reason, the fans notice. For instance, when Donald Trump showed up on the set of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1994 to offer up some awkward and unusual witticisms, for example, it was just strange, it was odd, like why does this exist? Trump's appearance did nothing for the episode other than make it noteworthy on a list about terrible celebrity cameos more than 25 years later. Number 8. Poorly hidden pregnancies. When a TV show achieves some success on the air, it can remain in production for years with very few breaks. As a result, a lot of the things an actor might do, such as go on vacation, visit their family, or have one of their own, can get shuffled to the back burner. That's just part of being in show business, but it wouldn't be reasonable to expect an actor to completely forego having children just to keep their character's story straight, and that's especially true for women. So when an actress does get pregnant, unless the character they're playing also happens to be pregnant, which isn't something that typically occurs, the crew needs to find a clever way to hide the star's baby bump, and over the years, people have gotten creative in achieving this. The actors typically wear dark clothing, sit in a way that obscures their belly, or carry something in a scene. While this can often fool an audience into never guessing their favourite character was pregnant the whole time, it doesn't always work. When it fails, it doesn't ruin the show by any means, but once you spot the tricks being used, there's just no unseeing them. Number 7. Episodes aired out of order. A lot of thought and energy goes into determining the order in which a story is told, and that's especially true when it involves a lot of different characters. As a result, it's incredibly important for a TV series to air its episodes in the correct sequence, but, and I can't believe I'm saying this doesn't always happen. That's because every so often a series will end up with its episodes airing out of their production order, and when it does happen, it can leave the viewers wondering what the hell is going on. This is especially true when the series first debuts, and it usually leads to an early cancellation. After all, airing a series out of order can leave the character arcs confusing, and it can mess with their relationships since the writers clearly develop the episodes in a linear way. One of the highest profile series to suffer this fate was Firefly. The first episode that aired was The Train Job, but it wasn't the first episode produced, so viewers were introduced to a world with absolutely no explanation of who the people were, why they were there, or what the hell they were doing. That was all covered in the episodes that should have aired beforehand, but the executives at Fox stepped in and tanked the series. Number 6. Sudden unexpected character departures. When people get into a television show, they often find themselves caring for the characters and their lives in a way that brings them back each and every week. Not only is this normal, but it's also what the producers want, and when a series runs for more than a few seasons, the fans can become pretty attached. A problem arises then from the simple fact that actors are people too, and they might run into an issue that requires them to step away from a character they played for years. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's very noticeable for obvious reasons. The longer a series runs, the more often this kind of thing happens, as any fans of Grey's Anatomy can attest. Characters depart that show all the time, and while they do a decent job of explaining a departure, it can be damaging to the series' ongoing narrative when it's not planned. Other times, a character who was around for a while might just leave the series altogether without any explanation. Not to rag on The Walking Dead too much in this list, but it is a bad offender for this. I mean, where did Maggie go? What happened to Heath? Why do none of the characters seem to care that much when someone just disappears and might be dead? Number 5. Clip shows. Television series are all about maintaining continuity through the method of linear storytelling. At least the vast majority of them are made this way. Because of this, watching a series means the viewers follow a certain path the characters take, and when this is broken, it can be distracting. Not only is it distracting though, but it also tends to make fans angry. After all, they tuned in to see what was going to happen after last week's episode, and finding something like a clip show in the place of a normal episode can leave them frustrated and furious. This is especially true of sitcoms, which are the real culprits behind the creation of these clip shows. Friends had a clip show episode called The One with the Invitation, for example, and instead of seeing what was happening with the characters, viewers were instead treated to a rehashing of scenes they already watched. That episode, coincidentally, is also the lowest rated one for the entire series, which just goes to show how poorly clip shows are received by fans. These days, binge watching makes the clip show kind of less of a nightmare for viewers, but the practice still continues to inspire anger. Number 4. When a series drags on longer than necessary. If you're a fan of a particular show, there's a good chance you wouldn't mind if it continued for as long as possible. After all, you watch it because you like it, so wouldn't more of a good thing be better than losing it altogether? Well, as it happens, no, it's not. TV shows are character-driven stories, and like any story, there is a beginning, a middle, and an end. Pushing it for longer than necessary only serves to undermine the creativity that went into making the show in the first place, and in the end, it's not really what the fans want. The worst example of shows continuing for longer than they need are often the result of the original creative team's departure as well. After all, they've told their story, so leaving makes sense, but the studio wanted more, and that's when these situations go from bad to worse. Now, here is a personal confession. I used to be a huge Supernatural fan. I had a major problem, but that show was supposed to end at season 5, and it eventually ran for 15 seasons, and not for the better. Number 3. Actor swaps. It's easy to fall in love with a character when a talented actor plays them, and the thought of replacing them with someone else isn't one fans would like to entertain. Unfortunately, it's not always possible to keep an actor in a role they help define, and when life steps in and mucks things up, the studio has to do something about it. Consequently, they can choose to do one of two things: either replace the actor with someone who looks a bit like the original, or retire the character altogether. When Roseanne Barr torpedoed her own show in 2018, for instance, the character was killed off, but not all series opt to do that. Another example from Roseanne stems from the character of Becky Connor, who was played by Lacey Goranson for the first 4 seasons. After that, Goranson went to college and was replaced by Sarah Chalk. It was impossible not to notice, and while they did play it for laughs, it was nonetheless distracting. Number 2. When too much changes too quickly. TV shows often follow a character's progression through life, and while they can change jobs, build or lose a family, or become the villain, odds are the show will make these developments gradually. That's because if too much has changed too quickly, it can distract viewers and lose them entirely, leading to an early cancellation. Stagnation and never changing the status quo can lead to boring storytelling, but the opposite is also true. Pacing issues can also be distracting to viewers, and this is clearly reflected in the final season of Game of Thrones. Here, so much happens over the course of this final season, and the rushed storytelling soured a lot of people on the entire narrative. The same is true for Twin Peaks. This series was supposed to be about the mystery of Laura Palmer's murder, but the studio execs pushed David Lynch to wrap it up in season 2, which left the series without an identity moving forward. Number 1. A main character takes a hike. Sudden character departures and actor swaps are one thing, but it can be far more distracting when one of the main characters leaves the show altogether. When this happens, it would probably be better for everyone involved if the show just came to an end, but every so often, they sadly continue. Take the 9th season of Scrubs, for example. Yeah, the 9th season that everyone just forgets about because, well, why the hell would the network decide to continue past the perfect ending? It's beyond me, I don't know. Anyway, the series attempted to reboot itself with a brand new cast, with a few returning faces being in supporting roles. As you can imagine, this went down like a lead balloon, and the show was swiftly cancelled shortly after because nobody was invested in these newcomers. So that's our list. Want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Are there any things that you find distracting in your favourite TV shows, and have you picked up on any of these? Either way, while you're down there, can you give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over to whatculture.com for more lists and news like this every single day. Even if you don't, though, I've been Josh, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.